The night sky changed. It was a quiet night in the small town of Clearwater. The stars were shining brightly, and the road was empty. The sound of tires on gravel broke the silence. A silver car moved slowly along the highway, surrounded by trees. On both sides, inside the car were two friends, Alex and Sarah, both in their early 20s. They were on a weekend road trip, looking for a peaceful place to relax and enjoy nature. "Do you see how clear the sky is tonight?" Sarah said, looking up through the windshield. Alex smiled. "Yeah, I haven't seen stars like this in years. No city lights. Just silence." Suddenly, the radio made a sharp buzzing noise. BZZZZZZT. Then, the engine started to make strange clicking sounds. The car began to slow down by itself. Alex frowned and looked at the dashboard. "That's weird. I didn't touch the brakes." The lights flickered. Then, the engine completely stopped. The car rolled to a quiet stop on the side of the road. Sarah looked around nervously. "Did it break down?" "I don't know. It just stopped." Alex tried to turn the key again, but nothing happened. No sound, no lights, even their phones. Lost signal. Then, everything became silent. Too silent. There were no insects, no wind, no sound at all. Suddenly, Sarah pointed up. "Alex, what is that?" A glowing circle of light appeared in the sky above them. It was not a star, not a plane, and not the moon. It was something else. It was moving slowly, silently, and perfectly round. The light became brighter. The air grew heavy. They felt pressure on their bodies, like gravity had changed. Alex opened the car door and stepped out, staring up. The circle of light now hovered directly above them. A strange hum filled the air. "Hum." Sarah got out too, but her legs felt weak. "What is happening? Is this some kind of drone?" she asked, but her voice didn't sound right. It was like the air was too thick to speak in. Then the light shot down a beam, bright, white, and blinding. Sarah screamed as she felt her feet leave the ground. Alex reached for her, but he too was pulled upward. The beam wrapped around them like invisible hands. They floated into the sky, helpless. The trees below became smaller. The car disappeared. Then there was only light. When Sarah opened her eyes, everything looked silver. She was lying on a soft surface like foam. The ceiling above her was smooth and glowing. She sat up slowly. She was in a strange room. No doors, no windows. Only walls that seemed to shift colors. Her heart was pounding. "Alex," she called out. No answer. She tried to stand, but her body felt weak. Like gravity was different here. Suddenly, a part of the wall opened silently, like a door melting away. 3 tall beings entered. They were not human. They had long limbs, smooth gray skin, large black eyes, and no mouths. But somehow, Sarah could feel them talking in her head. "You are awake," said a voice in her mind. "Do not be afraid." Sarah backed away. "Who? What are you? Where am I?" The aliens moved slowly, not threatening, but not friendly either. One stepped forward. "Your kind is strong. Your body is perfect. You will help us survive." Sarah's eyes widened. "What? What do you mean?" Another alien raised a hand, and a floating screen appeared in the air. On it, Sarah saw images of human DNA, babies in test tubes, and strange alien symbols. "You and the other will help us continue our kind," the voice said. Sarah's hands shook. "No, I want to go home." But the aliens didn't respond to her fear. They simply turned and walked away. The wall closed behind them, leaving her alone. Sarah sat down, breathing fast. Then, a voice whispered from a corner. Don't trust them. She turned quickly. Another alien stood there, smaller, thinner, with a scar on its neck. I will help. You, it said in her mind. But we must be careful. They're watching everything. Sarah looked at the strange being, unsure whether to believe it or not. Where's Alex? She asked. He is in the next chamber. Alive, but for how long? I cannot say. Tears filled her eyes. She looked up at the glowing ceiling. Somewhere far away, Earth still existed. But now she was trapped. On a ship. In the sky. With creatures that needed her for something she didn't understand. And the night sky had changed forever. Sarah had no idea how long she had been lying on the floor. Time felt strange here. There were no windows, no sun, no night. Only soft glowing walls and cold silence. She stood up slowly and walked around the room. The floor felt like metal, but warmer. The air smelled clean to clean, like it had never touched a tree or a river. She placed her hand on the wall. It moved like liquid, rippling under her touch. Suddenly, the wall opened again. This time, 2 aliens entered. Their skin was silver gray, smooth like stone. Their eyes were large and black, with no eyelids. They didn't walk, they glided, their feet barely touching the ground. Sarah froze. The taller alien raised its hand. It didn't speak with a mouth, but she heard a voice inside her head again. We will take you now. Sarah didn't move. The alien continued, its voice calm but cold. You are safe. Do not resist. She felt her body move forward without her will, like invisible strings were pulling her. Her feet floated just an inch off the floor. The hallway was long and glowing blue. The walls were covered with moving patterned symbols, images, alien, writing that made no sense. Her heart beat faster with every turn. Finally, the corridor opened into a huge chamber. Sarah gasped. It was like a palace made of glass and stars. The walls were clear, and through them, she could see the planet below, a glowing world of blue forests, dark oceans, and golden cities that floated in the sky. A huge ringed moon moved slowly in the distance. Where am I? She whispered. The alien replied, You are now on Varelia, home of our kind, once a world of millions. Now, only thousands remain. Before she could speak again, she saw Alex standing inside a glowing cage on the other side of the room. Alex, she shouted. He looked up, shocked. Sarah, you're alive. She ran toward him, but the force field stopped her. Alex looked tired. His clothes were dirty, his face pale. They've kept me here for days. They ask questions, they test things. I don't know what they want. Sarah turned to the alien. Let him out. Why are we here? Why us? The alien looked at them both and answered without emotion. Your kind has what we lost. Strength, reproduction, future. We are dying. You will save us. Sarah stared at him. You want us to breed for you? Is that it? There was no answer. Instead, a third alien appeared. It was older, its skin dull and cracked. It had small devices attached to its head and chest. It spoke. Slowly and clearly. This time out loud. 300 years. That is how long we have failed. No more children. No more birth. Our bodies cannot carry life. We cloned. We engineered. We created. But every path failed. The old alien looked at Alex and Sarah. Then we found your world. And in you, we saw the answer. Alex clenched his fists. You kidnapped us. You didn't ask. The old alien's voice was calm. We had no time to ask. Sarah looked around the chamber again. How many others have you taken? The alien lowered its head. Many. Most did not survive. You are different. Alex slammed his hand against the force field. We're not animals. You can't use us like this. The old alien turned and began to walk away. Before leaving, it said one last thing. You will have everything you need. Comfort, space, time. And if you succeed, you will be heroes of two worlds. The room darkened. Sarah stood in silence. Her hands shook. Then the same small, thin alien from before appeared again quietly from a corner, where no one seemed to be watching. She remembered him from her first chamber, the one with the scar on his neck. He looked at her and then at Alex. I told you before. His voice entered her mind. You are not the first, and if you fail, you will not be the last. Sarah looked into his large eyes. Then help us, please. Get us out. The alien paused, then nodded slowly. There is a way. But you must understand something first. Not all Varelians agree with what is being done. Some believe in choice. Others believe in survival at any cost. Alex asked, "Why are you helping us?" The alien looked down. Because I was born from humans too. I am the only one who lived. Sarah's eyes widened. You're half human. The alien nodded. They tried before. They used others. My mother was taken from your world 50 years ago. She died giving birth, but I lived. I am proof it can work. That's why they keep trying. Alex whispered, "This is bigger than we thought." The alien stepped closer. Tonight, I will open the gate. But once you leave this room, there is no turning back. Sarah looked at Alex. He nodded. They were ready. Varelia might be beautiful, but to them, it was a cage, and they were done being trapped. The lights in the alien chamber dimmed. The glowing walls turned dark blue, like the color of a deep ocean. A soft hum filled the air, vibrating through the floor. Sarah opened her eyes slowly. She was no longer in the crystal chamber. The stars, the view of the planet Varelia. Even Alex gone, she was now alone. Strapped to a cold metal table, her arms and legs were held down by smooth silver cuffs that didn't hurt but didn't let her move either. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. A device near her throat was buzzing softly. Then the ceiling lit up. Dozens of alien faces stared down at her from behind a glass panel above Swide. Unblinking, emotionless. A soft voice spoke in her mind. This is not pain. This is study. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest. The table tilted slowly, lifting her to an upright position. Across the room, another table lit up. A body was lying on it. Still, it wasn't Alex. It was someone else. A woman, pale, unmoving. Human. Sarah's eyes widened. She looked dead. Before she could think more, a machine moved closer. It looked like a floating spider, with long metal arms and blinking red eyes. One arm reached toward her face. She turned her head. No, no, no. Don't touch me. The spider machine paused. Then it moved back. The voice in her head returned. You are not like the others. You are difficult. That is good. Meanwhile, Alex sat alone in a dark glass room. He wasn't tied down, but he knew he was being watched. A thin mist covered the floor. He hadn't seen Sarah since the alien with the scar promised escape. But that escape never came. Instead, every hour, a new test first. They put him in a room with strange puzzles, symbols, shapes that changed every time he touched them. Then they made him run through glowing masses, walls, shifting, closing, opening again. And then the dreams. At night, Alex would sleep. But in his dreams, he saw things. Earth burning, Sarah screaming, creatures crawling through his mind. His memories didn't feel like his own anymore. He touched his head. What did they do to me? The door hissed open. A tray floated in, holding food, or at least something that looked like food. It was a glowing cube, floating in a clear gel. Alex ignored it. He wasn't hungry. He was angry. Then a voice entered his mind. You are stronger than the others. Your thoughts resist our touch. You are learning. He looked up. I don't want to learn. I want answers, and I want her back. The voice was silent. Then it said something else. She is alive, but not safe. Back in the lab, Sarah stood. Against a wall now, no longer strapped. She had been moved to another room. This one was different. Darker, colder, like a prison. On the wall in front of her were strange glass tubes. Inside them floated figures, small, half-formed beings, not fully human, not fully alien. Their eyes were shut. Their bodies were twisted. Sarah stepped back in horror. Oh my God! A soft whisper came from behind her. You see now? It was the scarred alien again. He walked slowly toward her. This is where the truth lives, he said. And this is why they will never let you leave. Sarah turned to him, her voice shaking. They've been making children. The alien nodded. Hundreds. All failed. Why? Because they do not understand your heart, your soul. They take your body, your blood, but they do not see what makes a human. Human? Sarah's fists clenched. Then stop them. The alien looked down. I am one. They are many. Sarah looked at the glass tube closest to her. Inside, the baby inside opened its eyes. One blue, one black. Human. The lights flickered. Suddenly, alarms rang. Out. Red lights flashed through the room. The alien grabbed Sarah's hand. They know I brought you here. We must go. Now. Elsewhere, Alex's room unlocked. A deep voice echoed. Your friend has seen what she should not. She will be erased. Alex jumped to his feet. You're not touching her? He ran through the open door, past to stunned guards. He tackled one, grabbed the weapon from its belt, a glowing silver rodent, sprinted down the corridor. The walls screamed as he passed. Lights blinked red. He didn't care. He only had one goal now. Get to Sarah. Sarah and the scarred alien ran through the lower chambers of the ship. Machines buzzed around them. Drones flew above their heads, searching. They reached a door. The alien placed his hand on the scanner. This is the genetics core. The truth of our extinction lies here. The door opened. Inside, rows of Earthwomen in cryopod, silent, still cold. Dozens of them, Sarah gasped. How long have they been here? A day, the alien replied, voice low. Some. For over 100 years, she turned to him. We're not here to save just ourselves anymore. Then she heard it, Sarah. Alex's voice echoed through the chamber. He ran in, out of breath, weapon in hand. They hugged for just a second. We don't have much time, Sarah said. We found the others. We're not the only ones. Alex looked around, stunned. They lied to us, he whispered. The scarred alien nodded. They always do. The lights turned red again. From above, robotic guards dropped down. One raised a weapon, but Sarah had already picked up the glowing rod from Alex's hand. She pointed it at the guard. Not today. BZZZZZZZZZCC TCCCTC. The robot exploded in sparks. The hallway was silent again, but the silence felt wrong now. Not peaceful. Waiting, Sarah, Alex, and the scarred alien stood near the broken robot. Sparks flickered on the floor. The weapon in Sarah's hand was still warm. She stared at it. I didn't mean to kill it. The scarred alien shook his head slowly. It was never alive, just machine, programmed to obey. Like most here. Alex. looked behind them. More will come. The alien nodded. Yes, but there is something you must see first, before we run. Sarah hesitated. Another secret. The alien looked into her eyes. The worst one. They moved quickly through, twisting hallways, deeper into the ship. The walls changed color around them, reacting to motion. Blue for movement, red for danger. Everything was glowing red. At last, they reached a giant round door, taller than anything they had seen before. It had no handles, no control panel, only a black circle in the middle. The alien placed his hand on it. His skin shimmered. A pulse of energy moved through the door and it opened with a long, low hiss. Inside was cold, very cold. Sarah's breath became visible. Alex pulled his arms in for warmth. They entered a chamber filled with frosted glass pods lined up like soldiers. Hundreds of them, each one held a person. A human, some young, some old. Some dressed in modern clothes. Others in older styles, decades out of date. Sarah stepped forward slowly, wiping the frost from one of the glass lids. A woman inside, eyes closed. Pale skin, blonde hair floating gently in fluid. She's alive, Sarah whispered. The alien nodded. All of them are. Alex stared in disbelief. How many? Over 400. Taken from Earth. Different years, different places. All marked as missing on your world. Here, they became subjects. Sarah clenched her fists. Why keep them alive? The alien walked to the center of the room. A glowing orb hovered there, spinning slowly. He touched it, and holograms appeared in the air. Medical charts, DNA strands, names, dates. One entry said, Subject 038 status, viable age, 24, captured Earth. 1973, Alex whispered. They've been doing this for half a century. The alien looked sad. They told our people these were peaceful research missions, that your kind would be protected. But behind closed doors, it was always about survival. Sarah turned to the alien. How are we different? Why are we still walking free? The alien looked at her carefully. Then, he said, because you both passed the tests. Alex frowned. Tests. Not just your body, your mind. Most could not handle the pressure. The isolation, the telepathy, the dreams. But you fought back. You adapted. He paused, then added something strange. You acted like us. Suddenly, a sharp buzzing sound rang through the chamber. Alex spun around. They found us. Red lights filled the room. A voice echoed from the ceiling. Cold, robotic, unauthorized access to Cryo Deck 7. Lockdown in 30 seconds. The alien looked around. We must leave. Now? But Sarah stood frozen in front of one of the pods. A man inside, face half familiar. She leaned closer and gasped. Alex, it's my uncle. Alex stepped up. The one who disappeared when you were a kid? She nodded. They said he drowned in a lake near our house. But this is him. This is real. Tears filled her eyes. We have to wake them. The alien stepped forward quickly. If we do, they will all die. The cryosystems are delicate. Only full power can support them, and now the lockdown is cutting the energy. Sarah looked around. Hundreds of lives, frozen, forgotten. A choice? Alex touched her shoulder. We'll come back for them. I promise. Reluctantly, Sarah nodded. They turned to run. The door was closing. The alien raised his hand and fired a blue pulse. The door froze mid-shut. They slid through just in time. Back. In the corridor, alarms were louder now. Guards moved toward the Malian machines with long legs and glowing red sensors. Alex aimed the stolen weapon and fired. One robot crashed into the wall. Another dodged the shot and leaped forward. Sarah ducked. The scarred alien jumped in front. Using his body to shield her, the robot struck his shoulder. Sparks flew. The alien groaned but stayed standing. We are almost there. They reached a lower deck. A dark place. Pipes hissed steam into the air. A control panel blinked ahead. The alien placed his hand on it. This is the access point to the broadcast hub. Alex raised an eyebrow. Broadcast what? The alien looked at them both. The truth, if you send this message to the surface, the people of Aurelia will know everything. They will see. The experiments, the stolen lives, the lies of their leaders. Sarah stepped forward. Do they even care? The alien's voice was firm. Some do. Some still believe in what we used to be. If you give them the truth, they may fight for you. Alex placed his hand on the screen. Sarah joined him. Together. They activated the message. A blue wave shot out of the tower upward through the ship and down toward the alien planet it had begun. The prisoners still slept, but the world was about to wake up, far below the ship. On the surface of Aurelia, the skies lit up with a blue flash. People across the planet stopped and looked up. Children pointed. Elders stared in silence. In cities floating above crystal oceans, on farms hidden in glowing forests. On skywalks between towers every screen flickered, and then the message began. Images, pods filled with sleeping humans. Test chambers failed. Clones. Screaming faces behind glass. Alien scientists, human pain. For the first time in centuries, the Aurelian people saw what their leaders had kept secret, and it spread like fire. Inside the control tower of the ship, Alex, Sarah, and the scarred alien stood still. The room was silent again. Sarah asked quietly, "Did it work?" The alien placed 2 fingers on the wall, closed his eyes. A few seconds passed. Then he nodded. The signal reached the core cities. The truth is out. Alex looked toward the ceiling. Then we just started a war. Back on the planet, chaos had begun. In the capital city of Zeranova, a group of young Varelians smashed a government broadcast tower. One of them, wearing a handmade cloak with a human symbol, shouted into a stolen speaker. They lied to us. They kidnapped life from another world. We were told they were animals. Now we see they are people. Across the city, walls were painted with strange human symbols. People whispered about the humans, the ones who survived, the ones who fought back. The rebellion had begun, but not everyone agreed. Inside the High Council chambers, alien leaders gathered in panic. "These images are false," shouted one elder. "Human manipulation." Another pounded the table. "The people are turning. Even some of our own guards are refusing to follow orders." A third voice, cold and sharp, said, "If the humans want to fight, we give them extinction." Meanwhile, on the ship, alarms returned. The voice overhead had changed. No longer cold, robotic. Now it was angry. "Alex, Sarah, you have committed treason. You will be erased." Sarah scoffed. "Erase this," and fired the plasma weapon at the speaker. Alex turned to the scarred alien. "How many support us?" The alien replied, "Not enough. Yet." Sarah asked, "Then where do we go?" He answered, "Down. To the surface. To the ones already rising." They made their way through. The maintenance deck, pipes steamed. Robots buzzed through the walls. Lights flickered red and blue, confused by the chaos in the system at the hangar bay. A small shuttle stood waiting, old, dusty, but functional, as they boarded. The scarred alien handed Sarah a wristband. "This will translate Varelian speech, so they will hear your voice, not as noise, but as truth." Sarah placed it on Alex, looked at her. Ready? She nodded. Let's meet the people we just woke up. The shuttle dropped through the atmosphere like a stone. It shook, rattled, and sparked. Flames licked the sides as it pierced the golden clouds of Aurelia. Below them, the planet looked different now. Live, angry, ready. Cities burned with protests. Sky banners flashed with the word freedom in alien script. Drones spun out of control as rebels took over defense towers. The shuttle landed outside a forgotten valley, lush, green and glowing softly. Hidden among tall trees were tents, gear, and weapons powered by old tech. Varelian rebels stood guard. Some aimed their weapons at the shuttle until they saw who stepped out. Humans, gasps filled the valley. One rebel, taller than the others, stepped forward. His armor was dented, his face scarred, his eyes sharp. "You are real," he said in perfect English, thanks to the wristband. Sarah replied, "We are." He looked around. "You've started something human, and now you lead it. Back in." The council tower, the high elders prepared their answer. They think they can shame us, break us. A massive screen blinked to life. Inside, an army of obedient soldiers. Armored Varelians with red visors stood ready. Then let them see our strength. They launched the command. The ship above began to rearm itself. Weapons emerged from the sides. The engines roared. Orders were sent to erase every rebel, every human, every secret. But the rebels had something new. Hope at night, in the Rebel Valley, Sarah stood before the crowd. Rebels, young aliens, and outcasts listened. She raised her voice. "Your leaders took our bodies, our voices, our people." She pointed to the stars. "But now you've seen who we are. You've seen what they hide. And together, we're going to end this." The rebels raised their weapons in silent agreement. The scarred alien stood beside her. Alex loaded his weapon and said with a grin, "Let's teach them what humans do when you back us into a corner." Sarah looked ahead. No way back now. Tomorrow was war. Asterisk rain fell softly over the glowing valley, but it wasn't water. It was ash. Ash from the burning cities above. Falling like snow over the rebel camp, Alex stood near the cliffside, staring at the red lights in the sky. The Varelian capital floated high above the massive, cold, deadly dot. Behind him, rebels prepared for battle. Old weapons were powered up. Energy packs charged. Human-made traps were placed in the forest paths. Sarah walked up beside him. Her face was calm, but her hands were shaking. "They're coming," she said. Alex didn't look away from the sky. "Let them." Up above, inside the alien mothership, the command AI scanned for targets. Rebel activity detected in Sector Zeta 4. Prepare drone strike. Rows of deadly drones detached from the ship. Red lights blinked on. Their engines hummed like angry bees. But something was already wrong. One by one, the drones shut down mid-air. Then REBOOTED. But now their lights turned blue. A new voice whispered through their systems. "Alex." Flashback 12 hours. Earlier, in a hidden corner of the rebel camp, Alex sat inside a stolen alien pod. Wires surrounded him. A translator device buzzed in his ear. The scarred alien stood beside him. "You really think you can take control of their drones?" he asked. Alex smirked. "I grew up hacking government cameras for fun. This is just alien Wi-Fi." He closed his eyes and dived into the code. Alien symbols danced in front of him. Logic, patterns. 5, Hari WAL. SA then. A gap. He found a back door, and he wrote a virus fast, sharp, silent. He named it HFY. HFY, now. In the present, the AI tried to stop the virus. Unauthorized code detected. Security, override engaged. But it was too late. One by one, the drones turned around, and instead of attacking the rebels, they flew toward the Varelian capital. Sarah led the rebel forces through the glowing forest. Beside her marched Varelians. Humans. Hybrids different but united. Each one had seen the truth. Each one had lost something to the council. They reached the edge of the valley where an old transport tunnel led up to the capital. Sarah held up her hand. "Once we go in," she said, "there's no turning back." The scarred alien raised his weapon. "Then forward is the only way." Inside the mothership, panic spread. Drones have turned. Systems are falling. The High Elders watched their empire slip through their fingers. One shouted, "Find the humans. Kill them now." But another voice cut through the chaos. Not from a speaker, from the floor, from the walls. Alex's voice, "Hello, Council. You've been hacked." Screens all over the ship lit up with his face. He grinned. "You wanted human strength. You got it." In the rebel tunnel, lights flickered. Security bots dropped from the ceiling. Sarah charged forward, dodging beams of light. She rolled, aimed, and fired, taking 2 bots down behind her. A rebel hybrid hacked the door. "We're almost in." He shouted. Another explosion shook. The tunnel dust rained from above, but they didn't stop. This wasn't just a fight, it was a rescue mission. They reached the central lab deep beneath the capital there. Hundreds of cryopods stood in silence. Sarah ran to the first one. Inside was a child no older than 10, floating, breathing. "They're still alive," she whispered. The rebel scientist nodded. "We can wake them, but only if we reroute power from the defense grid." Alex's voice echoed through her comlink. "Do it. I'll handle the defense grid." Back in the ship's core, Alex stood alone now. Around him, a massive interface of light and sound. He reached forward and placed both hands on the console. The AI fought back, throwing images, sounds, memories trying to break him. But Alex didn't blink. He had seen too much. He had lost too much, and now he would take it all back. He whispered, "Override command, Freedom Protocol." Lights went black, then blue. Across the ship and planet, every lock opened. Every pod, every cell, every hidden truth, exposed, rebel. Ships in the sky began firing at the council towers. The people of Varelia, no longer blind, began to rise. Protests turned into revolts. Machines turned against their masters. And in the center of it all, 2 humans. Sarah, freeing the prisoners. Alex, shutting down the system. Together, they brought an empire to its knees. In the final hour of battle, the High Elders stood on the last tower. Smoke rose behind them. Their voices were silent now, for the first time in generations. They had no control. A screen blinked one last time. Alex's face. He looked tired, dirty, alive. He said only one word: "Goodbye." And the tower fell. The war was over. But the smoke still rose. Broken towers stood like skeletons in the sky. The mothership no longer hovered above its pieces, now scattered across the ocean and desert lands of Virlia. And in the silence after the storm, hope began to speak. Alex stood on a balcony of the old council building. The walls were cracked, the windows shattered, but the view had changed. Below him, hundreds gathered: Varelians, hybrids, rebels, humans from Earth, who had finally been awakened from cryosleep. They weren't soldiers anymore. They were survivors. Sarah stepped beside him, her clothes stained with dust and ash. She looked stronger, now a steady, voice calm. "Do you think they'll listen?" she asked. Alex gave a small smile. "They already are." The scarred alien, now without his armor, stepped up to the center of the courtyard. He raised a glowing crystal, the old symbol of truth among his people. "My name," he said, "was once removed from records. I was born of two bloods, hidden, feared, rejected." He turned to the crowd. "But today, I speak for all those silenced. Today, we begin again, not as rulers or prisoners, not as scientists or experiments, but as people." The crowd stayed silent, listening. Then Sarah stepped forward. No stage, no script, just heart. "We came from a small world," she said, "thinking we were alone in the universe. Then your ships came. You took us. You tested us." She paused, "But in doing that, you woke us up." Her voice grew stronger. "You thought we were weak, easy to control, but humans. We adapt. We fight. And most of all, we remember who we are." She looked at the crowd. "And now, we remember you too, and we offer you a choice, not to kneel, not to obey, but to walk forward with us. Together." Silence. Then, one Varelian stepped forward. Then another. Then hundreds, heads bowed not in shame, but in respect. 3 days later, across Varelia, old flags were taken down. New banners rose, symbols of unity. A spiral galaxy with two hands. One human, one alien, reaching out. Alex helped repair the cryopods. Some humans woke in fear. Others wept when they saw Earth had not forgotten them. Sarah sat with a child, half human, half Varelian, reading him stories from both worlds. And the scarred alien, now known simply as Kel, was chosen to lead a new council. One where no voice would be ignored. But not everything was perfect. Some Varelians still hid in the shadows, still believed in the old ways, still whispered of pure bloodlines and control. And Earth had not yet answered the signal. One night, Sarah stood on a hill, staring at the stars. "Do you think they'll come?" she asked. Alex nodded. "They have to. The message is out there." She smiled. "What do you think they'll say when they meet him?" She pointed to Kel, standing with the hybrid children. Alex laughed. That humanity's greatest legacy wasn't strength. It was connection. Weeks passed. Then one morning, a new ship appeared in the sky. Not Virelian. Earth-made. It was small, shining the signal from Sarah and Seer. And Earth had sent someone back. The ship landed in the valley. Doors opened, and a human woman stepped out. In a dark blue suit with Earth's emblem on her chest. She looked at Alex and Sarah. "You made contact," she said. "You survived." Sarah replied, "We did more than that. We changed everything." The woman looked around at the aliens, the hybrids, the children, and she said, "Then maybe it's time we change too." Later that night, a small ceremony was held in the valley. A flame was lit, not for victory, but for remembrance, for those lost in the labs, for those who never woke from cryosleep, for those who fought and fell to make this day happen. Alex gave the final speech. He kept it short. "I don't know what we are now. Colonists, survivors, diplomats, just two kids from Earth who refused to give up." He looked around at the crowd. Maybe we're none of those things. He smiled. Maybe we're just human. And maybe that was enough. The stars above Varelia shimmered quietly. 2 planets, 2 species, 1 story. A story not of domination, but of defiance. Not of control, but of choice. And at the heart of it, 2 humans who proved something ancient and powerful. That when you push humanity too far, we don't break, we rise.